A midnight sky over the Arctic suddenly crackles with lightning that isn't lightning at all. In less than 30 minutes, an object traveling faster than a rifle bullet will decide whether half the planet sleeps or vanishes. That object could come from a missile silo in Wyoming, the silent depths off Georgia's coast, or the bomb bay of a stealth aircraft no radar can find. Welcome to the razor-edge world of strategic nuclear forces, where minutes, megatons, and machine intelligence now converge. Tonight on Combat Tech, we dive into the technologies that keep global war in check and might also redefine it. The United States is pouring $49.2 billion this year alone into sustaining and modernizing the nuclear triad, its land-based missiles, ballistic missile submarines, and long-range bombers, while the Congressional Budget Office pegs the cost of operating and upgrading the arsenal at $946 billion over the next decade. What's the payoff? Deterrence. Deterrence against not one, but now two nuclear peers, Russia and China, both sprinting to field new hypersonic gliders, multiple warhead missiles, and stealthier submarines. But money isn't the only story. Under the polished metal and composite skin of every missile and bomber lies a high-stakes debate. How do you stay credible when your rivals can strike in ways never imagined during the Cold War? Let's break the Triad apart, system by system, and see how each piece is being rewired for the most contested strategic age in 75 years. Since the early 1960s, Washington has trusted three very different launch platforms to guarantee that at least one survives any first strike. Single warhead ICBMs offer sheer numbers and hair-trigger response. Ballistic missile submarines hide beneath thousands of square miles of open ocean. Heavy bombers can be seen, dispersed, and recalled, turning nuclear signaling into high-stakes theater. The 2022 Nuclear Posture Review calls those overlapping attributes effectiveness, responsiveness, flexibility, and visibility. Yet every one of those legs is now under the knife. Life-extended 1970s, missiles must last until a totally new weapon arrives. Submariners are stretching 30-year-old hulls, while a successor boat struggles with pandemic-era shipyard delays. And America's vintage B-52 fleet, designed with slide rules, has to coexist with a brand new stealth bomber built in 3D virtual reality. The Triad endures, but the clock is ticking. But nothing ticks louder than 400 underground missiles waiting for orders. Current arsenal, Minuteman III. 400. Minuteman III missiles sit in reinforced silos across Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota, each limited by treaty to a single W-78 or W-87 warhead. Decades-long life extension programs have replaced everything from propulsion sections to guidance computers, squeezing accuracy and reliability well past design life. Still, the newest airframe rolled off the line in 1978. The replacement, LGM-35A Sentinel. Enter the LGM-35A Sentinel, formerly GBSD. The Air Force plans 659 missiles, 400 for alert duty, the rest for testing and spares. Fiscal year 2025 requests $3.7 billion for the missile plus $1.1 billion at the National Nuclear Security Administration for the W-87-1 warhead. Composite motor casings, advanced avionics, and modular launch capsules aim to outpace cyber threats and missile defenses through 2075. Yet cost overruns triggered a formal Nunn-McCurdy breach review in 2024, forcing the Pentagon to defend why land-based missiles remain worth it, why it matters. Sentinel keeps an adversary guessing. 400 distinct aim points demand an immense first strike salvo to neutralize. Each silo also acts as a warhead sponge, soaking up enemy missiles that would otherwise target cities or command nodes. Critics counter that fixed silos are sitting ducks for hypersonic glide vehicles, and that prompt launch policies risk accidental war. The debate rages, but construction contracts are already signed, and the first operational Sentinel is scheduled to stand guard by 2029. Yet the most survivable warheads ride ocean currents, not prairie winds. Ohio-class and the Trident II D5. 14 Ohio-class SSBNs patrol from bases in Bangor, Washington, and Kings Bay, Georgia. Each carries up to 20 Trident II D5 missiles, down from the original 24 launch tubes for treaty compliance. A typical patrol keeps about 12 boats operational, with roughly 1,000 warheads at sea. 2 more are in overhaul at any given time. Trident II is on its second life extension, funded at $2.5 billion for fiscal year 2025. Range exceeds 7,500 miles. Circular error probable is measured in hundreds of feet, and each missile can still carry up to 8 MIRVs, though most are downloaded to fewer for stability. Columbia-class, the $122 billion backbone. Replacement boats take shape under the Columbia-class SSBN program. 12 hulls, each with 16 tubes, will eventually shoulder the entire sea-based deterrent. The lead ship, USS District of Columbia, has slipped 12 to 18 months, pushing initial patrols to 2032 to 33. FY 2025 asks for $9.9 billion to keep the program afloat. Integrated electric drive, quieter pump jet propulsion, and a nuclear reactor that never needs refueling promise near-silent endurance. Warhead evolution. The Navy's W-76-1 and W-88 warheads are midlife modernized. A W-76-2 low-yield variant went to sea in 2020. Up next, the W-93, designed in tandem with Britain's new warhead to ride future Trident reloads. Critics fear a new design could ignite global arms racing, but supporters argue the current inventory lacks 21st century safety features. So far, we've covered missiles you'll never see. But what about aircraft meant to be seen? B-52H, the grandfather of the Force 74 B-52H Stratofortresses, first delivered in 1961, still rumble out of Louisiana and North Dakota. New Rolls-Royce engines, AESA radars, and digital cockpits should keep them flying past 2050. Their current nuclear punch is the AGM-86B air-launched cruise missile, but stocks are aging fast. LRSO, a cruise missile for the stealth age. The long-range standoff missile, budgeted at $834 million for fiscal year 2025, will vault the bomber leg back into the penetration game with advanced stealth, flexible targeting, and the refurbished W-80-4 warhead. B-2 Spirit and B-21 Raider. 20 B-2 Spirits remain America's only operational stealth bombers, armed with B-61 and B-83 gravity bombs. But retirement looms. Their successor, the B-21 Raider, rolled out in late 2022 and flew in 2023. 7 test aircraft are now in the air or on the line. The Air Force wants at least 100 Raiders and set aside $5.3 billion this fiscal year to accelerate production. Composite skins, open architecture avionics, and modular bomb bays make the B-21 simultaneously a deep strike ninja and a nuclear workhorse. Gravity bomb portfolio. NNSA's B-61-12 program merges 4 bomb types into one guided tail kit weapon, offering dial-a-yield flexibility. Meanwhile, the Cold War-era B-83 megaton bomb is finally scheduled for retirement. The new B-61-13 will give planners a high-yield bunker buster without the B-83's safety drawbacks. Yet even the most formidable missile or bomber is useless if it can't receive the order to launch. The USNC-3 network spans an estimated 204 separate systems, from space-based infrared satellites to hardened fiber lines under the Rockies to the E-4B National Airborne Operations Center and E-6B Take Charge and Move Out aircraft. The FY 2025 request, $11 billion to harden, replace, or reinvent everything from sensors to conferencing links. Key upgrades include next-gen overhead, persistent infrared system satellites to replace the space-based infrared system and survive anti-satellite attacks. Evolve strategic SATCOM to succeed the advanced extremely high-frequency system with jam-proof, nuke-proof communications. Survivable Airborne Operations Center, a new jetliner command post to replace the aging E-4 B-747s. A new E-130J Takamo aircraft to relay launch messages to submarines. Why the rush? Hypersonic weapons may compress warning timelines to minutes. Cyber exploits could spoof attack data. And multipolar deterrence demands leaders coordinate nuclear responses against multiple adversaries at once. NC-3 is the nervous system. If it fails, the Triad becomes 3 inanimate limbs. And those adversaries are not standing still. Russia, hypersonic wildcards. In December 2024, Russia completed fielding a division of avant-garde hypersonic glide vehicles, Mach 27 warheads that ride older UR-100N boosters but maneuver unpredictably inside the atmosphere. Multiple units entered combat duty in 2023, giving Moscow a tool designed to slip past US missile defenses. Each glide vehicle can deliver a 2-megaton punch, or conventional kinetic kill. Meanwhile, the RS-28 Sarmat Super Heavy ICBM promises up to 10 heavy MIRVs, or 3 avant-garde class gliders per missile. China, from minimum to medium deterrent, Beijing stockpiled past 600 warheads in mid-2024 and could top 1,000 by 2030, according to the Pentagon. Satellite imagery shows 3 new silo fields, each the size of a U.S. Air Force missile wing. 6 Type 094 submarines are refitting with the JL-3SLBM, extending strike reach to parts of the U.S. mainland without leaving Chinese coastal waters. The Type 096 SSBN under construction may add quieter propulsion and more launch tubes. In the air, the H-6N bomber now carries a nuclear-capable air-launched ballistic missile, completing China's first true triad. Strategic implications. For the first time, Washington faces 2 near-peer nuclear competitors, plus a rapidly advancing North Korea. Former assumptions that the U.S. could size its arsenal for a single adversary no longer hold. In 2024, President Biden's updated nuclear employment guidance ordered planners to deter Russia, the PRC, and North Korea simultaneously, hinting the current modernization program of record may prove inadequate. So what might the next battle, or the act of preventing one, actually look like? Picture a crisis in 2035. A U.S. Space Force sensor network of hundreds of small sat constellations spots 3 hypersonic launches over Siberia. Within 15 seconds, AI-driven algorithms on classified Project Overmatch servers fuse data with polar radar tracks, producing a target file for interceptors and a strike recommendation for the National Command Authority. Simultaneously, a B-21 formation already airborne on a dynamic force employment sortie receives encrypted retargeting over evolved strategic SATCOM. Underwater, 2 Columbia-class boats shift patrol boxes after receiving a burst message via very low-frequency buoy. Deep in Montana, Sentinel crews load new targeting packages pushed from cloud-native fire control systems hardened against quantum hacking. Will any of those weapons actually leave their launchers? Deterrence banking on uncertainty says no, but only if each piece works as advertised. And that is why, behind every line of code and every well bead on a Columbia hull, the United States invests staggering sums. Because credibility in nuclear deterrence is measured in probabilities of survival, not just body counts of warheads. Land-based Sentinels threaten instant response. Submerged Columbias lurk undetected, ready for a devastating second strike. Stealth bombers offer visible, recallable proof of resolve. Above them all, a sprawling NC-3 web knits the Triad together at nearly the speed of light. Across the horizon, Russia fields maneuvering hypersonics, and China doubles its arsenal in a decade, forcing Washington to modernize faster than at any time since the Reagan buildup. So, are we watching the last great upgrade of an old-school nuclear order, or the opening scene of an AI-accelerated arms race? The answer will shape not just strategy, but survival. If you want to stay ahead of that story, hit subscribe, ring the alert bell, and join us every week here on Combat Tech, where we track the machines, the money, and the minds redefining tomorrow's battlefield. Because in the nuclear age, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection.